Hey clan, Scottish White 92 here, and welcome to another WION review, which stands for Worth It or Not, where I'm going to answer the simple question: is Skyrim Dragonborn DLC worth it or not? I do apologise that I'm not wearing my kilt, but it's in the wash. I'll just say that right now because it's not like it's just a couple bucks. But it's kind of late here, and I just want to get this review done and dusted. And I've beaten Dragonborn, and I want to just sit down, talk about it, give my review of it. I'm working on my other WION review that I mentioned in my previous video, but we'll get to this DLC. So firstly, we'll talk, what's the price of, I'll tell you the price firstly, because that's the thing I'm going to have to answer. Is it worth the price that they're asking for the DLC Dragonborn? It's 1600 Microsoft points. It is not cheap. So yeah, that's what I'm going to answer. Is it worth 1600 Microsoft points? So firstly, we'll talk about the story of the Dragonborn DLC. Now, this DLC has been hinted at for quite some time, and has got a lot of hype. Like, there's been a good bit of hype for this DLC, and I have to admit, it was one of the few DLCs that intrigued me. Like, Dawnguard intrigued me, but really didn't stand out to me and made me want to buy it. The one where you build your house and all that, just, I don't want to do that in Skyrim. In Skyrim, I want to hunt dragons and kill fucking things. So I didn't get the two DLCs. Don't get me wrong, I'll probably get Dawnguard eventually, but Dawnguard just didn't really appeal to me. Dragonborn, on the other hand, did. I liked the idea of the story, which is that here's the story basically. You are attacked by a group of cultists in Skyrim who claim that you are not the true Dragonborn, and that the one true Dragonborn, Miraak, has returned, and you, after defeating the cultists, go to a new land near Morrowind, in the Elder Scrolls universe that has been visited before, called Solstheim. I think it's pronounced like that, I could be completely wrong. And it's a massive island. There's actually a lot of exploration in it. And your whole goal is to figure out what the hell is this cult wanting you for, and who the hell is Miraak, and why the hell he wants you dead. And it's kind of interesting. I don't want to spoil, as is my WION reviews are spoiler free. But this is, that's the main story. There's also side stories in which you help a guy, you help fund a mining expedition which has a nice little twist to it. You help save people, you recover artifacts, you look around for places, you help a small group of little things called Rekaks, which are basically Ewoks. You help villages, you help a whole area, you even get your own home there eventually in a place called Raven Rock, which is the main city of Solstheim. And there's a lot of story in this with different aspects, and it's really well done, especially the main story of Miraak, which you learn a lot about, is that Miraak has been dead for thousands of years, and apparently he's coming back from the dead, and he was the first Dragonborn, and let's just say first Dragonborn versus the current Dragonborn, that'd be one hell of a fight. But yeah, that's the main story of it. There's a load of the story that I haven't talked about because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it yet. But of course, then we have to talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is just same as Skyrim. If you like Skyrim gameplay, you like that. Graphics, same thing. But what we're going to talk about is the content of the DLC, because this is the thing that you have to think: does it make it worth the price of 1600 Microsoft points? Now, there is a lot of content in this. I was actually surprised the amount of content it was. Now, Bethesda are well known for their content. Their DLCs not just being half-assed pieces of shit. Normally they are expansions to the current Skyrim universe. And I'm not saying Dawnguard wasn't, it just didn't appeal to me. That didn't add a lot to the thing, in my opinion. But this one, Dragonborn, adds an entire continent near. Not an entire continent, but a massive island in which you have plenty of places to explore. There is a lot to explore in this, I will say that right now. The amount of content there is that has Dwemer ruins, it has mountains, it has a nice wee island scattered around the area that you can go visit to get treasure and loot. There's a few villages here and there. There's a couple of wee things called Earth, Air, Fire, Water, and Tree Stones. Yes, I know it sounds like a Captain Planet, but we won't go there. There's a lot of little villages that you can visit. There's caves, there's ruins, and it's really nice to see this. They put a lot of effort in this. Now, if you've seen a lot of the ruins in Skyrim, there will be one or two that will stand out to you, but there will be one or two others that will not. The Dwemer ruins look like Dwemer ruins, but they have upgraded them just a little bit, adding a little bit of a puzzle element to them, in which one Dwemer ruin that you go to, you have to actually collect cubes, in which you have to raise and lower water levels in the Dwemer ruins. which is really interesting. So there is a good bit of puzzle solving in this game as well. But the main thing, in my opinion, which is the standout to this DLC, is the enemies. They actually have introduced quite a lot of enemies to this DLC, including enemies called Ash Spawn, which are basically living ash enemies, and they are reasonably tough. There's also some ash hoppers, which are basically little big grasshoppers that fuck you up. Reavers, which if you get which I'm pretty sure if you've seen a certain show, you get that reference. There's also one or two new dragons. There are a few new dragons, which is nice. There's new enemies called lurkers, which are basically kind of like massive fish people, which use tentacles. And if you've ever seen a hentai or Japanese stuff, you kind of guess where I'm going with this. You also get seekers as well, which are kind of like tentacle monsters. They kind of remind me of necromorphs with the belly that they've got, with their little hands and all that. But there's a good bit of enemy variety in this. And one of my favourite parts of this DLC is that you come across things called black books, which are actually dimensional portals. And you actually get stuck to an Oblivion realm. You actually get stuck to the Oblivion realm of the... Oh, I can't remember his name, but he's basically the Daedric Prince of Knowledge. So you get sucked to his realm, which is basically a massive area of books and information. Now, you can't exactly interact with every book there, but there are plenty of books there you can read. His main goal is knowledge, and you can tell by the way that this realm is designed. There's a lot of books. Basically, the walls are made of books. And there are seekers, which are his guardians, which are very tough. There's also tentacles. It's basically a realm of books and tentacles. And if I'm the only one that was screaming, I'm not a schoolgirl in this DLC, I'm a sick pervert. If you get that, you know what I'm going with. But it's a very interesting realm. There's also a few puzzle elements to it as well. The way that the corridors sometimes move as you go through them, like they will. The area does adjust in real time in some instances when you solve the puzzles. Corridors extend, doors open up, stuff fades away, it disappears. Really, really good. A really massive amount of content with that bit. And you can actually go to and from the dimension, the Daedric Prince's dimension, by reading the books and then also reading the books to get the fuck out of there. And I loved that. It was really well done. You also talk to the Daedric Prince of that realm as well, and he gives you a mission, which I'm not going to spoil, but it's really well done. I love that. I love that little thing they added there. I really like it when that does that in Skyrim. So not only do you get Soulstorm, you also get an Oblivion realm, which different black books will take you to different parts of it, which is really nice. It kind of adds a bit of incentive to go out and collect all of the black books, because there are quite a few, and each one takes you to a different place where you can get different little perks at the end of each little dungeon. Really, you get little perks, and you get a choice of 3. They all have varying abilities. To one that I very rarely use, which is a companion one, which basically makes it impossible for you to harm your companions, which is really, really helpful, because I end up killing my companions eventually. But that's really nice. You also get a lot of other ones that add thumbs, which are your dragon shouts. They add a lot of stuff to that. They can add wee perks to that. There's also quite a few new dragon shouts in this one as well, including Bend Well, Cyclone, and Dragon Aspect. Cyclone basically makes a cyclone, as it says. Bend Well allows you to control people and dragons and monsters. And Dragon Aspects adds like an armor to you, like a dragon ethereal armor, which looks fucking badass, I'm not going to lie. So, as you can tell, there's a lot of content in this DLC. Now, one of the things that people are wondering about is the ability to ride dragons in this DLC. You do get to ride a dragon in this DLC, and you can ride them from there on with the Bend Well shout, which allows you to control the dragons a little bit more freely. However, you don't get to pilot them. It's an on-rails kind of thing with the dragons, which is a bit disappointing. I was hoping to fly around on a dragon and go, fire! And have them burn an entire village in half. That's just me, a sick bastard. But it's kind of a wasted opportunity in my opinion, because it's just an on-rails kind of thing. You can just travel from one location to the other with the dragon, tell him to fire his ice breath or his fire breath. But that's about it. Like, it's an on-rails, a bit of a wasted opportunity in my opinion. They could have really added something to it, where you control the dragon as he was flying. Well, I understand that may have been extremely complicated or difficult. But otherwise, not a problem with that. It was enjoyable to ride a dragon and go, I can show you the world. Burn that motherfucker! I can show you a fantasy. I know I got the word wrong, but fuck it. You can't tell me you wouldn't do that. I liked it. I like that little aspect of it. There's also a lot of other, there's also armors, swords. One armor in particular has a set of boots that allows you to walk on water, which is fucking awesome. I literally walked around the entirety of Solstheim on the water, screaming like, I am Dova Jesus! Bow before my greatness! I'm sorry if I offended any Christians. In fact, no, I'm not. I am Dova Jesus. I am Dova Jesus. I tagged that. That's mine. Hashtag Dova Jesus. I'm kidding. But I loved that. I loved walking around just screaming, I'm Dova Jesus! It was really fun. I like that a little bit. A lot of wee things like that make me happy. So as you can tell, there are a lot of positives to this DLC. There's a massive amount of content. Not a massive amount, but there's a lot of content. There are a lot of collectible missions, which I don't mind that much. This is part of Skyrim. But they added a lot of too many, in my opinion, in this DLC. There are one or two that kind of bugged the hell out of me. But otherwise, they're nothing major. There's weapons. Basically, near enough appeals to everyone. However, there is a couple of problems with this. It's still Skyrim. Like, there's still the okay voice acting. A couple of new characters. There aren't that many new voice actors from what I can tell. There maybe are a few like Mirak and the Daedric Prince and one or two of the other characters, but overall they're all around about the same. You'll probably have heard the voices 100 times. Even got away with one of them by saying that one of them was the twin brother of someone from Skyrim, you know, which is kind of funny. I like that. It's kind of a little nod to the people who are watching. Yeah, we kind of don't have a voice actor. I like that. That was kind of neat. Trying to think of anything else. Still some issues with the AI with characters. It does, like, some of them do get in your way as always. But that's just Skyrim, that's in general, so I can't take anything away from that. There are some bugs though. Like, it's always a necessity with any Bethesda DLC that there are bugs. But there aren't that many that I could see. There are a couple of annoying ones that got me stuck in places, which is just typical of Skyrim. There were one or two that kind of caused me to lose weapons. There were one or two that kind of robbed me of some loot. There were some really cheap instant kills with some enemies in there. But that's just kind of Skyrim as well. But there was one major problem, and that was that the game locked up on me twice, as in crashed, and I had to restart my whole console. So that is a bit of a problem. It crashed twice on me, so I do worry about. They warn you that the DLC might crash. There is also one other minor disappointment of the DLC, and it's the final boss battle, which I'm not going to spoil who it is. You kind of guess who it is, but I still won't spoil how it goes and all that. But it's a bit underwhelming and a bit cheap in my opinion. You'll be fighting the person, and you'll get them down to near enough all their health, and then they'll regenerate their health by doing something. I'm not going to say what it is, but they will do something. They'll get their full health back, and then you have to do the whole thing over and over and over again, about 3 or 4 times before they actually die, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. It shouldn't bother you too much though. If you're like me, you're vastly overpowered. In Skyrim, you've probably got your character up to the 60s, which I have. I've got my character up to level 60. I've got 100 stats and some of my other stuff. But yeah, there are some cheap things in there, and if you've played a shit ton of Skyrim, you're going to be overpowered anyway. But it does scale to your level, so it is still kind of difficult. Other than the final boss battle being a wee bit disappointing in my opinion, in some instances, just with how cheap it was in some cases. Like, I never died during the final boss battle, but it was kind of cheap how he got his health back, which I'm not going to spoil how he gets it back, but he gets it back instantly, and then have to do the whole fucking thing over. If I didn't have Methario's Razor, which is a dagger that instantly kills, has a 5% has a chance to instantly kill something. It doesn't instantly kill him. That would be too easy, but it did a lot of damage to him and got me out of 1 or 2 sticky situations. But it just kind of bugged me that it was just a bit lackluster, and you didn't really get a final dragon boss battle. You did fight dragons in this DLC, but only 1 or 2. So overall, I'm going to answer the question: is Skyrim's Dragonborn DLC worth it or not? And for me personally, and in my honest opinion, it's worth it. It's worth the price they're asking for, because there is too much content here to say that that it's not worth it. There is a lot of stuff in this DLC, and I've still got a few things to do in the DLC, but I've beaten the main story. I've been a good chunk of the side content. There's still a few collectible missions left for me today, but there's a lot of content. Now, I would recommend that if you don't like collectible missions and you don't really like some of the aspects of Skyrim, I would say stray away from this DLC, but I can happily say that if you like Skyrim, you like the Elder Scrolls series, you're going to like this DLC, and in my opinion, I liked it. I think it's worth every penny that they asked for, and I'll probably still go and play it, because it's really, really good, and you did get a lot of stuff out of it, a lot of good armors, unless you're like me and you have the Daedric armor, which is just basically the best in the entire game. But you get a lot of stuff in the DLC, and I cannot say that it's not worth it, because there's so much content in the DLC that I can say happily that Dragonborn is worth the price they're asking for, and I would say if you're a Skyrim fan, it's a definite must-buy. Otherwise, just give it a miss and just wait a wee while for it to go down in price. But otherwise, if you like Skyrim, you'll like Dragonborn, and I would recommend it to a Skyrim fan, and even to someone who's just got Skyrim, it does add a bit more to the game. So that's it for the review. If you've played Dragonborn, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section down below, and let me know what you thought of it. And let me know if this convinced you to get it. I'd like to know that. But as always, I'm Scottish Warrior 92, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now. Mwah.